So we'll see.
But do you think are you still a bit tough fight, but you expect him to stop him?
I expect him. I believe he will win the fight. I believe he'll win the fight. How he wins it, we'll see.
The worrying thing is with Moses' style, he could be landing some serious bombs, sharp bombs that do a lot of damage to Dillian early doors, so he could never get into the fight. So yeah, I think it's stacked against Dillian. I'm not saying that Dillian can't do anything in the fight. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if I'm looking at it from the outside in and just looking at how I see both men's stages of careers, the styles.
Dillian Whyte has done that. There's a difference. And Dillian Whyte for me looks like a guy that's in shape to go the distance, or to at least to ask questions of this young pup.
Experts in heavyweight boxing make predictions on Moses. Dillian Whyte versus Itauma. Although Frank Warren believes Moses will prevail, he acknowledges that Dillian's punching power will make the bout difficult. He has faith that Moses can withstand the strain and prevail. Warren also expresses his desire for Moses to prevail, since he believes that he is the heavyweight. Boxing industry's future.
What is your forecast for this fight?
I think he's gonna be in a tough fight. I know he's got the punch power to hurt and stop Dillian Whyte, but I also know that Dillian Whyte also has the punch power to cause damage. And the one thing with Moses at the moment is that's not been tested. So we'll see.
But do you think are you still a bit tough fight, but you expect him to stop him?
I expect him. I believe he will win the fight. I believe he'll win the fight. How he wins it, we'll see. For me, beating him is a big thing.
Right.
However he does it, and I want to see the other side of him as well. I want to see him. I want to see him in a tough 12-round fight where he comes through it and boxes his way through it. He's not a one-trick pony. He can box, but as I say, this is a tough one. This is going to be. This is a fans' fight.
Yeah, it's a great fight.
That's what it is. It is a fans' fight.
Despite pointing out that Dillian Whyte hasn't been playing at his best lately, prominent boxing analyst and pundit Aid Oladipo observes a noticeable shift in the build-up to this bout. According to training camp updates and publicly available video, Whyte has radically changed, becoming leaner, sharper, and physically all set. He appears to be in about the greatest physical shape of his career, which might make him a real danger to Moses Itauma, who is still a young and promising player. Aid thinks that, because of this change, Whyte will be able to challenge Moses and test his boundaries in the ring.
All of a sudden, people have seen the shape that... I saw a video, which I'm guessing you guys have seen as well, of Dillian Whyte hitting the heavy bag and doing a bit of a bit of shadow boxing. He looked incredible. Dillian Whyte... me and G-Man did the look back, didn't we? Dillian Whyte versus Chisora. And Dillian Whyte looked in incredible shape there. And I was thinking, if he can get close to that, he's close to that. He's close to that. Dillian Whyte in his last few fights has been around the 260 mark. I think he might have even been heavy for a couple. I think he looks low 250s. And all I can ask from a fighter, this is why I get so pissed off with Martin Bakole, just get in shape. Skill's skill. You're not going to change a fighter from fucking where you are to Muhammad Ali. I'm not asking for that. Just get in shape. Dillian Whyte has ticked that box. And he's like, okay, if you think I'm going over to Saudi Arabia just to get smoked by this 20-year-old, we'll see. That's what I'm taking from the shape I'm seeing him in, because he looks incredible. And also, when he's firing out his jab in that little shadow boxing, his arms are so long. Dillian Whyte, compared to his body structure, he has overly long arms. What I'm getting at is that Dillian Whyte can box a bit as well, He's not just a brawler. He's been tagged as this brawler. He can box a little bit. Is he a better boxer than Moses? No. But that jab could be key. Jab's always key, right? We always talk about it. But one thing I see with Dillian Whyte being in this shape is that he's saying, if I can take this young boy past 6, we're going to go into deep waters that this young boy's never been before. And it's all well and good Moses saying, I'm sparring 10 rounds, I'm sparring 12 rounds. And, I was on TalkSport when he mentioned this yesterday. Fighting 10 rounds is different. Fighting 12 rounds is different. Dillian Whyte's done that. And look, sometimes Dillian Whyte's blown out of his arse. Sometimes Dillian Whyte's been beat in those 12-round fights, but Dillian Whyte has done that. There's a difference. And Dillian Whyte, for me, looks like a guy that's in shape to go the distance, or to at least to ask questions of this young pup.
Former professional boxer and boxing expert Lawrence Wee claims that Moses Itauma has won some amazing bouts and fought some amazing matches. However, he emphasizes that none of those triumphs have been against an individual who possesses the Dillian Whyte skill and experience. Whyte has collected years of elite-level ring time, whilst Moses is still in the early stages of his career. This disparity in experience may have a significant impact on how the battle plays out.
Relax. Moses has been performing under the bright lights, but what I'm saying is, it's still so early and he's got a lot to prove. Up until this point, I can't argue. He's passed every test with flying colours, but the problem is, he's passed so easily, he's missed out on valuable lessons along the way, and he's now got a very experienced veteran in front of him in Dillian Whyte, who's been at world level. Everybody's written Dillian off, but recently, seeing interviews and seeing training footage, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I've got to be honest, my mind's starting to shift. Let's take a look and discuss the key takeaways.
I don't think I've ever seen you be this big an underdog in a fight. You are like 1-14.
Dev asked Dillian, how does he feel being the underdog?
And that's what makes you dangerous. As an underdog, you're underneath, you get up at them testicles and lock onto them, and it's game over.
It's crazy really, because like I said, he's fought at world level, fighting the likes of Povetkin, Fury, Chisora, AJ, Parker, the list goes on. But in sports, you're only as good as your last performance. In Dillian's last fight, he looked terrible, putting it politely.
Has he put something in you? Because like your last few fights, Ebenezer like instilled a fear, not...
No man has put anything in me. Pause this.
Dillian does make me laugh. Dark humour. But maybe that says more about me. He says it the way it is. There's no sugar coating. Dev says, is this the biggest risk he's took in his career? Which again is madness.
All of them has been massive, because you think no one's ever had me as the favourite. Think of one fight that was the favourite. Just think.
Dylan's right. He's always the underdog. It's nothing new.
How do you reflect on your fight with Tete?
It was what it was. Listen, I've been walking the long, lonely, dark road for 3 years.
This is the thing. People forget that fighters go through things outside of the ring which affect the performance, but us fans only judge the performance. At the end of the day, fighters are human, they're not robots.
Then that fight for me was, ask myself a question, can I take a good whack and push through? Can I force myself to put the jabs in? Can I...
He admits he wasn't in great shape, but that fight for him was about dipping his foot in the water and seeing if he still got it and still wants it.
I had a few injuries and stuff going into the fight, but it is what it was. But that fight reignited.
Dillian Whyte has impressed in recent training footage, shifting opinions among those who had doubted his sharpness after a period of inactivity and a lackluster last performance. Critics had questioned whether he still had the edge, but new clips show him training with intensity, delivering powerful combinations, and maintaining a sharp, focused rhythm. His physique appears close to peak condition, reminiscent of his dominant form in 2018 when he stopped Lucas Brown. This apparent resurgence has sparked renewed optimism among fans, who believe Whyte still possesses the tools to compete at the highest level of the heavyweight division. With a crucial fight looming against the young, undefeated Moses Itauma, rising star with speed and momentum, Whyte's training progress has become a hot topic in boxing circles. Observers are now anticipating a competitive and potentially explosive clash, as the seasoned contender looks to reassert himself against a dangerous and ambitious new threat in the heavyweight ranks.
Since like late 18, right? I remember him knocking out Lucas Brown. When he knocked out Lucas Brown, he looked like he was in the best shape of his life. He looks similar or better now, which is very impressive. And I think, like Terrence Crawford, people are now looking at Dillian Whyte. You know, seeing is believing. You know, when we see results, we start believing in those results. I think now people understand that Dillian Whyte has taken this very seriously. He's been out of the ring for a long time. His last two opponents quit. Tete and Hammer, they both quit. And I think that Dillian, this is his last hurrah. If it's his last hurrah, if it's his last time to shine, he has nothing to lose. Why not go out with a bang? Why not go in the best shape possible? Why not do what you're supposed to do in training camp? Okay, because you can't really predict what happens in that ring except you and that other guy. It's up to you or that other guy. But in training camp, you have a team around you. You have determination, you have motivation, you have discipline more than likely. Okay. And I think that Dillian Whyte is looking great, bro. He is looking great. He doesn't have the unbalanced body type like you normally see him. He's too big upper body, legs are small. You know what I mean? He's all off balance because of the imbalance of his body. But I do think that Dillian Whyte will come in to make a splash, and this is how you're supposed to look if you intend on doing it. I love the way he looks. He looks great. He looks in shape. He looks like he's ready for a battle. That's what it's about.
Moses Itauma enters this fight under immense pressure, with fans and analysts agreeing that anything less than a dominant win over Dillian Whyte could damage his reputation. While his record so far has impressed many, boxing is a sport where public opinion can shift dramatically based on a single performance. A close or uninspiring victory would likely raise questions about whether Moses is truly ready to face the elite in the heavyweight division. For someone who has been hailed as a future star, this fight carries weight beyond just adding another win to his resume. He must deliver a convincing performance to justify the hype and protect the reputation he has carefully built. At this stage of his career, maintaining momentum is critical, and any sign of vulnerability could stall his rise. Moses isn't just fighting Whyte, he's fighting to prove he belongs at the top, and to silence growing doubts about his potential.
So much pressure now on this young man's shoulders. Like, if he doesn't look spectacular against Dillian Whyte, all of a sudden people are like, that's how fickle boxing fans are. We're so fucking fickle. If he doesn't look great against Dillian Whyte, we'll be like, he's almost got to ice Dillian Whyte for everyone to say, yeah, he's the king. You know what I mean? For him to continue that trajectory, because he is like a fucking rocket ship at the moment. Going on the eye test, I think he has absolutely everything. Going on what people tell me about him, I think he has absolutely everything. Like, I hear the sparring stories. Guys, there is so much I could share on this channel that I don't. Like, so much. But I hear the sparring stories. I know who he's hurt. I know who he's wobbled. I know all those things. And he's a bad man. Honestly, he's a bad man. I look at him, it's funny. I don't feel like I'm interviewing a 20-year-old. Do you know what I mean? He just is a man, isn't he? But yet he's a kid. And being a kid isn't a bad thing in the sport of boxing, because there is that kind of fearlessness, like this youthful exuberance, speed. You're not damaged goods. You haven't been through the trenches. The politics of boxing hasn't made you fall out of love with the sport yet. So as much as people say he lacks experience, sometimes lacking experience in those things I've just mentioned can't be too bad.
Or according to British light heavyweight contender Anthony Yarde, Moses Itauma has demonstrated excellence since the beginning, even at the age of 18. Yarde is certain that Moses has what it takes to become the next major champion because he sees traits in him that point to potential domination in the heavyweight class. His conviction stems from his observation of Moses in action, as well as his understanding of the mindset needed to achieve success at the greatest level.
Moses Itauma, his first headline event, takes on the body snatcher Dillian Whyte. You first on this. How good is Moses? I mean, you must hear the stories that everyone seems to hear about the sparring and all that. How good is Moses when you're watching him?
I've seen Moses, and I've said this from the beginning, from when he was 18, 19. This guy, he's it.
He's it.
He is it. He is it. This is my opinion. It's boxing. I know it's pressure and all these kind of things or whatever, but he's it.
Why?
He's got skill set, fast hands, footwork, from what I've seen, he's got a chin. Not that you need to be getting hit with these wild shots, because clearly you've done something wrong if you got hit. Good jab, you know. For me, in my opinion, he's it.